Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Good evening. Katusha rockets fired from an area near the port of Aqaba have killed a soldier and wounded another. 3 Katusha rockets were launched from a warehouse in an industrial area in the port city this morning. One hit an armed forces warehouse at the harbor, killing Private Ahmed Jamal Saleh al-Najdawi and wounding another soldier. The second rocket struck near the military hospital, and the third exploded in the nearby Israeli town of Eilat. An official source said preliminary investigations found that the warehouse from where the rockets were launched was leased several days ago by 4 persons who held the Iraqi and Egyptian nationalities. Upon orders from His Majesty the King, His Royal Highness Prince Hashem and security officials arrived in Aqaba to oversee investigations into the incident. A group claiming links to Al-Qaeda, the Brigades of Al-Qaeda organization in the Levant and Egypt, said in a statement it had carried out the attack. Life was normal in Aqaba as security measures were taken, but the city was not sealed off as some media outlets had reported. Interior Ministry Aouni Irvaz said the blast had not disrupted life in Aqaba and activities in the city were normal. His Majesty the King denounced the Katusha rocket attack in Aqaba, which he said was a criminal act. He vowed Jordan would not be dissuaded from the endeavor to portray the voice of right and moderation and depict the real image of Islam that terrorists seek to distort. The King telephoned the Regent, the Prime Minister and the Chairman of the Joint of Chiefs of Staff, who reassured him on the situation in Aqaba after the 2 missiles hit the Princess Haya Military Hospital and an armed forces warehouse. In a cable of condolence to the family and tribe of the dead soldier, Corporal Ahmed al-Najdawi, His Majesty said the missile group that carried out the criminal attack was disassociated from the country through Arab traditions and the noble and tolerant values of Islam. King Abdullah vowed Jordan would continue to boost national security, consolidate the values of right and justice, and pursue all those tampering with the country's security. His Royal Highness Prince Faisal the Regent has said Jordan will remain an oasis of security and stability, and the failed terrorist attack in Aqaba will not deter the kingdom's fight against terrorism. During a visit to Aqaba, where he met security chiefs, the Regent called for apprehending the perpetrators of the Katusha rocket attack and bringing them to justice. Prince Faisal was briefed on the attack and security measures taken afterwards, as well as future security plans in the city. He also visited the Princess Haya Military Hospital and was assured on the condition of the soldier who was injured by a Katusha rocket. His Royal Highness Prince Faisal Ibn al-Hussein has taken the constitutional oath before the cabinet as regent. Israeli troops pushed through burning barricades and dragged screaming protesters from a settlement synagogue in an assault on one of the last pockets of resistance to evacuation from the Gaza Strip. The army suspended settlement removal for the Jewish Sabbath, which ends on Saturday evening. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, addressing a cheering crowd in the southern Gaza Strip, called the first evacuation of settlements a time of great joy. More with Nida al-Ramahi.
Israeli troops broke down the final barricade of resistance in the Gaza withdrawal plan when they moved into the tiny Gadid enclave, dragging die-hard Jewish settlers out. Only hours before, Israeli security forces cleared the main anti-pullout strongholds, breaking the back of opposition and ending 38 years of occupation. 17 of 21 of Gaza's settlements have been evacuated, with 85% of settlers leaving, in a withdrawal that, according to officials, has been achieved far ahead of schedule. On Tuesday, settlers will evacuate 2 small West Bank settlements, Zaner and Homish, completing Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's withdrawal plan. But the two areas contain the most radical rightist Israelis, making them potential flashpoints. Israeli opponents of the pullout have described it as a surrender to a Palestinian uprising that began in 2000. But for Palestinians who held a prayer of thanks in Rafah near Murad, it was a small victory after years of agony and bloodshed. For them, the reality was clear. Sharon took the step of withdrawal, but the plan represents only 5% of all Palestinian territories occupied since 1967. Many Palestinians can also not help but compare that while many of their relatives were removed from their land decades before without a right of return, the Israeli government has provided settlers $100,000 apiece to relocate on their own land. Nidara Mahi for Jordan Television.
We now join IBA's Aaron Viner, who takes a look at what the Gaza settlers are experiencing as they face the final countdown to the evacuation.
With their presence set to become illegal at midnight tonight, many settlers have already left their homes in Gaza and Samaria. Some settlements are beginning to resemble ghost towns. This morning, the residents of Kfar Darom and Neve Dekalim woke up to find their electricity was cut off, apparently by anti-disengagement activists seeking to disrupt the Prime Minister's planned pullout. Yesterday marked the last Sabbath these people will spend in their homes before leaving voluntarily or facing forced eviction on Wednesday. A Gaza lifeguard took a final tour of duty on the beautiful beach by his home.
There was